Welcome to another week of the Friday Five. I'm Dan. This week we're going to answer 5 questions again from clients and people in the fitness community. 5 popular questions. I guess for me, my 3 strengths in life are geography, sport and fitness. Don't ask me to hammer a nail into a piece of wood. I've got no idea how to do that, but definitely fitness is one of my things. So I'm going to help answer 5 questions that we've got for the week. Let's go. All right, so question 1, will I get bulky if I lift weights? Now, this question is coming from a female client, and she's about 30 years of age. And first thing is, this is a big myth in health and fitness, especially with women. So there's a misconception out there that if you start lifting weights, dumbbells or free weights, barbells, whatever, that you're going to bulk up. Okay, so this isn't the case unless you're training specifically to do that. So in order to do that, you need to be consuming a lot of calories, and you need to be training with heavy load and do this consistently. So, when you think of bodybuilders and people like that, it takes a very specific training regime and to some degree also genetics to be able to bulk up and do that. So no, what you will do by doing weights though is you'll help shape your body, which is great. Most people want to do that. You'll actually kind of burn more calories at a resting rate because the more muscle mass or more muscle tone your body has, the quicker your metabolic rate burns calories on a daily basis. All right, so because muscle uses more energy to basically burn. So you're not going to do that, but there's lots of benefits to resistance training, shaping your body, getting stronger, your bone density, your joints. All that stuff is a positive, so I definitely recommend you have resistance training or weights as part of your program, and it's not going to bulk you up. You'll be fine. Question 2, is there a proper way to breathe when you exercise? Sometimes I lose my breath. Okay, look, this is a great question. We often find a lot of people, especially when you're new to fitness and you haven't done it for a while or you're coming back into it, there's that element of forgetting how to breathe when you exercise. And there is actually a technique to it, which I'll explain. For example, let's say it's your first day back and you're out running and you feel like you get that stitch, right? We've all probably had the stitch. I know I have. And so, generally that's from a lack of oxygen coming into the body. And that's what it's thought to be. And certainly that can be affected by breathing. So let's talk about when you're breathing with resistance exercises. So, push-ups, pull-up, bicep curl, whatever. So think about, you generally speaking want to breathe out on the exertion, which is the hard part of the exercise. Think about a push-up. All right, so you're going to go down in the push-up, breathe in, and you're going to breathe out as you push, because that's the hard part of the exercise, right? And so breathing with the hard part actually cycles your breathing better and makes it easier to get the repetition out, rather than holding your breath for 10 reps, for instance. When it comes to breathing for, say, running, there's a really good pattern that you can follow. So we like to kind of teach one of 3 methods. You've got the 2-2 cycle, the 3-3 cycle, or the 4-4 cycle. And so what that means is that you, for someone who's maybe newer at running and you haven't done it for a while, every 2 steps you take, you breathe in, and the next 2 steps you breathe out. And you continue to cycle that, 2 steps in, 2 steps out, 2 steps breathe in, 2 steps breathe out. When you get a little bit better at it, you start going 3 steps breathe in, 3 steps breathe out. All right, so you take longer breaths with longer breaths out. And then you go to something like what I'm more comfortable with, which is a 4-4 pattern. So it's 4 steps breathe in, 4 steps breathe out. Okay, so cycling your breathing is so important. Running's a big one. A lot of people don't know how to breathe when they run, and they just breathe. And it can often lead to things like stitches or feeling like they're fatiguing quicker. So that can certainly help. Another one's breathing with boxing as well. So boxing, I would see a lot of people, again, because it's very coordinative and you're trying to focus on hitting and technique and hands to chin and all these things, you forget about the breathing part sometimes. And like anything, it comes with practice and experience. But certainly with boxing, you want to think about breathing out on the exertion as well. So every time I punch, breathe out. And that'll definitely help in terms of keeping you going for longer. Hope that helps with breathing. What's a good stretch for my neck? I'm always sore and tight through my neck and shoulders and work at a computer all day. Okay, cool. Look, very common. I'm the first to admit that I do more computer work these days than I've ever done, and certainly you notice the effects when it comes into your neck and your shoulders. I'm sure a lot of you do too. So first of all, first thing I would say is you need to be set up at your computer or your workstation ergonomically. So making sure that you're set up properly in terms of the computers at the right height. You're not slouching forward, these things which are common in workplaces. So that's the first thing. Make sure you're ergonomically set up to the right height. Secondly, I'd say that there's a couple of exercises you can do. So typically what happens with people at computer desks, you get into a rounded posture and you've got basically the muscles of the neck are getting stretched. Sometimes you're forward in the head doing these ones, looking down. And so we spend a lot of our time doing this. And often it comes kind of, subconsciously. You don't even realize you're doing it. And you've got to continue to remind yourself, I need to sit up. And then all of a sudden you'll slip back, I need to sit up. So it's reminding yourself constantly, and then you can form the habit of sitting tall. Some exercises you can do. So chin tucks are one of the best ones. So this is where you just tuck and release. Tuck and release, all right? So you're working the muscles in the neck here in the opposite direction. So they're used to being stretched in this position. You need to try and focus on doing the opposed thing, which is tucking, and try to strengthen these muscles, these neck extensors and neck flexors. Another good one would be actually releasing your pectoral muscles, the muscles in here. So some stretching through your chest, like pushing against a wall or a door frame and pushing against and opening up the muscles in the chest, because often the chest muscles become quite tight because of that rounded posture. So chin tucks, chest stretching. And the third thing would be things called scapular retractions, which is basically working the muscles in your back, right? Because the thing that happens as well is because you're kind of in that pronated state at the computer desk all day, the muscles in your back become kind of quite weak as well. So scapular retractions are sitting tall, and you think about squeezing your shoulder blades together and then relaxing, all right? So you're trying to get activation through the muscles in your back. So they're three good ways that you can try and do that. And you can do this daily. So you might do 10 chin tucks, 30-second stretch through your chest each side, and say 10 retractions through your scapula. Do that twice a day. Start with that. And just from there, you're going to start activating and actually stretching some muscles out as well. But you need to be ergonomically set up at your computer desk. Otherwise, you'll probably have the same problems. Good question. Question 4. What's a good exercise to tone my butt? All right. Cool. No worries. There's plenty out there, actually. We do lots of this stuff. So, your typical compound movements, which are full body movements, would be like squats, lunges, step-ups. They're your big body movements, which all target the glute area. If you want to really go specific on the area of the butt, things like donkey kicks, which is where you're on all fours and you're going to kick your leg back and through. They're a great exercise. If you're not sure, have a look on YouTube. You'll find plenty there. So donkey kicks, fire extinguishers, which is like a donkey kick, but you actually open your leg out to the side. So it targets a slightly different area. So donkey kicks, fire extinguishers. Glute bridges are great as well. So you're lying on your back and you're thrusting your hips up and you're squeezing your glutes at the top of the bridge and back down. So they're probably three good ones. And another one which is great is a reverse lunge. So lunging backwards rather than forwards. And I find the backward lunge a little bit better at targeting the glutes as well. So they're 4 great exercises. And again, you can start with just reps of 10 as a bit of an entry point. 3 sets of 10 of each of those. And you can ramp it up to go higher rep, or you can add weight to the exercises to make it a bit more of a burn if you like. But yeah, hope that helps. Last question. What should your heart rate be when you exercise? All right, cool. So look, this is a good question. This is one we get a fair bit of, and I'm glad it came up this week. So this person who asked this question is new to exercise, new to us anyway at CoreFit, and they're wondering whether they should have a heart rate monitor and whether it helps. And look, in my opinion, personally, I don't feel like you have to have a heart rate monitor to be healthy and succeed. I go off, personally, I try to coach people off feel and how they feel rather than what the number says on their watch. But that's just me, my opinion. So there's plenty of people out there who have heart rate monitors, and that's great, and it works perfectly well, especially if you're doing zone tracking, so you're actually trying to track your zone of your heart rate, whether you're a runner, whether you're a swimmer, whether you're a triathlete, things like that, great. So the first thing to figure out is, so what should your heart rate be? So let's figure out first kind of what your maximum heart rate is. There's a quick formula to do this. It's 220 minus your age. Let's take me, for example. So 34 years old, I'm going to subtract 34 from 220, and I struggle with a calculator without a calculator. Let's have a look. So 176, something like that. 186. All right, so 186 beats per minute is my maximum heart rate. Beautiful. So now what I do, if I have a heart rate monitor, which is what you need in order to track these things, or if some Fitbits do it, you can get Garmin's, all these kind of little gadgets these days. Your smartwatches generally will have heart rate on them, some of them anyway. So you need one of them first of all to track. That's what you have to have. But then in a lot of these little gadgets, you can actually put in things like target heart rate, and they'll ask you for things like your age and your weight, your height, your male or female, and from there it'll calculate your maximum heart rate for you. So essentially then you can actually look at putting in zones into your watch. Say I want to train at between 60 to 80% of my heart rate, great. And then what happens sometimes is if you go over or under, it'll beep at you and let you know. Now, why would you do that? Well, you do that if you're kind of mainly, trying to stay within a certain range. Maybe you've got a heart condition and you have to do that. Maybe you're trying to train for a running event and you need to learn how to pace and sustain your heart rate. That's great. Other than that, personally, I like to help people, or I guess one of the reasons we created our program the way we did with such variety is that we teach people to try and go into different heart rate zones usually through the one workout. So, there's workouts where you'll do interval workouts, which will be really high heart rate or HIIT, and then recovery, and then go again, and then HIIT, and then recovery. And so this is great for improving your fitness and your recovery, and also really trying to spike up your metabolic rate and your fitness at the same time. Then you've got other workouts which are more sustainable. So you are going to kind of do, say, a circuit or an AMRAP style workout where you sustain your effort over a long period of time, and then you may keep your heart rate in a zone of around, say, typically 75, 80, 85% throughout that whole session. So I think by varying it and doing different ways, it's actually a better all-round fitness result for most people who just want general health and fitness. But by all means, if you want to specifically train or you want to keep your heart rate in a certain zone, grab a monitor, because that's the only way you can kind of do it, and that way you can track your heart rate as you go. So I hope that helps. But yeah, so they're the 5 questions today. So recapping, will I get bulky if I lift weights? No. Is there a proper way to breathe when you exercise? Yes, breathe out on the exertion. Or if you're running, follow the methods that we've talked about. Stretches, chin tucks, stretch your chest, scap retractions. Best exercises for your butt. Yes, glute bridges, donkey kicks, fire extinguishers, reverse lunges are fantastic. And heart rate. What should it be when you exercise? There's no right or wrong answer to this. It depends what you're training for. General health and fitness, I believe you should be on all different types of heart rates. It's thinking about exerting your effort. Imagine your body's like a vehicle. You've got 5 gears. Sometimes you've got to go to 5th gear and push yourself. Sometimes it's good to stay in 3rd gear and kind of sustain your effort too. So I prefer to go off gears in the body rather than heart rate. Hope that helps. Have a great weekend, everybody. That's the Friday 5 for another week. Ciao.